Welcome everyone to Ladder Daily Digest. We honor creators. And today we have back Megan Connor. And we thought that we would go over something that she does. She does coaching. And so we thought we'd give an example of what it might look like for someone who's thinking that they might do it, but they haven't yet pulled the trigger. Welcome to the show, Megan.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah. I've always wondered, what it would be like to start a life coach situation or some other thing like that, but you just never know what it's going to be like. So I thought we would share what would it be like. So let's pretend I'm in the market for it. And so what would I do next?
Yeah, so I never want to take someone's money until I have a visit with them and get to know them a little bit and see if what they're looking for is something that I can actually help them with. So I like to do a free, I call it 15 to 30-minute consultation with them where they can basically tell me what they're wanting to work on. And I can sort of get an idea if I have the right resources for them. And if I don't, I can always plug them into someone else or give them a referral of something else they can do that can help them. If we do choose to work together, then I really like the coaching to be tailored to the individual's needs. And so while I have a couple of different packages on my website, they're really just suggestions. And I try to tailor it for what's going to work best for the person to be successful. So, for example, I'm working with a couple of people who are authors writing books. One of them wants to just put their pages in a Dropbox and have me look at them and comment. Another one wants to check in with me really frequently as they're doing journaling and things like that. So I try to tailor the program for what specifically is going to serve the client the best. Most of my people that I work with will get a package of 4 sessions and we'll either meet once a week or every other week. And then they will re-up their sessions as they need to. And that seems to work best for people generally.
That sounds cool. So where do they go to look for your introduction?
Yeah, so they can go to my website at third-verse.com and there's a little coaching tab up here you can click on, and then you can click to schedule. If you click the schedule now, it brings up my coaching call schedule, which I have. Obviously August is done now, so I don't have a lot of people scheduled for like the preliminary free call. So I have specific times set aside just for that. So they can click on one of these days and you can see that I have basically from 10 to 1:30 that day. They can sign up for 30 minutes and then they'll get a little invite with a Google Meet link from me. And then we meet via Google Meet, basically. And during that 15-minute call, I would say to you, hey, Jean, thank you so much for reaching out. And what are you interested in working on?
So I guess I wasn't sure exactly like what are your ranges of things that you would work on and what examples do you have of people that are sort of outside the range that you've sent to different places?
Yeah, so I've worked with people everything from I'm considering getting a divorce to obviously authors to people navigating really difficult family relationships. I had somebody ask me to accompany them to their family reunion one time, which I did not do. And we can talk about that and how I referred them out as well. And also I work with people who are starting a business or who are trying to hire employees or who are trying to understand how to use social media better for their business and things like that. I help people with personal finances and budgeting. And so I have a really wide variety of clients because in my background, I've done so many different things. I've been a teacher. I've been an entrepreneur. I was a certified investment advisor at one point. And I've done a lot of different things. So I have experiences in lots of different places. But I do, there have been a couple people who have come to me who have really serious mental health issues. And while I can do some coaching for people like that, And when I say people like that, I include myself because, I've obviously been through a lot of healing as well. But I insist that people, if you're working through trauma, you have to also be working with a certified mental health professional as well as me, because I'm not a certified mental health professional. I'm not qualified to take someone from A to Z in their healing journey to address all of that trauma. And so it's really important that people who are going through those things, who are reaching out to me for help, also are getting clinical help as well. So I've had a couple of people come to me and say, I really don't want to go to a therapist, but I have some severe childhood trauma I want to work through. And unfortunately, that's just not something I'm qualified to do. So I'll refer them out. One of the other things I do is helping people find a therapist. I help them find a competent therapist that is in their budget, that is in their area or online, whichever they're looking for. And I help vet out different therapists. And then I'll come to somebody with a list of like, these 3 people, you should interview these 3 people and see who's the best fit for you. So I do lots of different things.
Yeah, about 20 years ago, I was going through some hard times, and I saw that there was a local counseling agency that came out of some local services group. And so I thought I would, check in with them and see things, and started some sessions with a therapist. And the therapist was coming to the conclusion that I might have adult onset ADHD, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she wasn't a psychiatrist, because the typical treatment for that would be medicine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
she referred me then to a psychiatrist, and I was able to get some medicine. And what I didn't know is that body chemistries are different, and I should have tried multiple different medicines to see what worked the most, and instead I just didn't really like the medicine that I was taking at the time. Like, it made me feel a little jumpy and edgy, and it was probably, close but no cigar. We could have changed the dose maybe, or other things, but instead I just tried to struggle through it and maybe do other things, like try to do more physical activity or something else, some natural forms of, getting serotonin or other things going, whatever those words are. So that's similar to you. You would say you're a coach, maybe somebody needs a therapist, and the therapist might say, okay, maybe you need a psychiatrist. And so there's different ways to work through things. So, okay, let's say then that I wanted to write a book. So Megan, I have lots of book ideas, and I've always wanted to write a book. Let's talk about for 15 minutes what it would take to write a book. Or do you have you helped people that write, you say you had 2 people that are currently wanting you to help? What types of things might you offer me?
Well, everything from, if you're just starting out and you don't yet have a title, or you just have an idea of what you want to write and you just need some direction, we can talk about what subject would be the best subject for you to write about, which I always tell people is you have to write what you know deeply. And so I don't recommend that people write books about things that they're either interested in or, or that they think will sell well, because if you're not writing about what you know deeply, you're not going to really resonate with an audience. So everything from picking a topic to deciding whether you're going to be self-published or go the traditional route, to deciding, what your cover art should be, to making your story more cohesive, to editing, to, just anything to do with the whole process of writing a book, including recording an audiobook and all of those things. Because I've been through it. I've done it. I learned a lot. I made a lot of mistakes. I learned a lot of what to do, what not to do. And I have a lot of contacts in the publishing industry that can be helpful for people.
How long ago did you have your book idea, and how long did it take to get to writing your book?
Well, I started writing it when I was going through therapy in my healing journey, although I didn't know that's what I was writing. At the time, I was just journaling, trying to get my trauma ideas out of my brain so I wasn't, perseverating about them. And then it was probably about 2019 that I was in a group therapy session that met weekly for 6 weeks. Actually, they met 3 times a week for 6 weeks. And the other women that I saw in that therapy group, I saw so many people who were stuck in this cycle of going through trauma, trying to heal, not really getting all the way there, and then ending up right back in the same place that they were in. So when I finally did get to a place where I was feeling healthy and like I could function in life and that I was happier, I wanted to write about my experiences in healing because I wanted other people who were going through it to know that it was possible to get out of that loop and to get unstuck and to get to a new place, because I didn't see examples of that in my own group that I was in. So I started taking some of the things that I wrote in therapy and collecting it into basically the story of how I healed and moved on with my life.
Okay. Okay. I finally thought of a good title that I want to write. So it would be, because I was thinking like what I'm doing is trying to help share people's experience, people's creative experience, so that other people might be inspired to be creative. And it goes along with the theme of thinking for oneself. If you see other people that are thinking for themselves, then it might give you permission to think for yourself as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking a good title would be Free Your Mind, right? How
Mm-hmm.
to start thinking for yourself after leaving a high demand religion, let's say, or a high demand corporate culture or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so let's say I have the title, and where would you go? What would you advise me? Because of course we're talking about the first 15 minutes, and you already mentioned a few things like thinking about whether I want to self-publish or not. So let's go through some of those questions that you might ask me for the 15-minute
Yeah.
consult.
So in the first 15 minutes, all I want to do is establish whether or not I can help you. And we've established that I can help you, and so then we would just move on to scheduling a session and deciding how often you want to meet and deciding, how much of the process you want help with, or do we want to get to a stopping point and then reevaluate and say, do I still need help, or do I have enough tools to go do this on my own now? And as far as a title, like if we were meeting in our first session and we were talking about this, I would say, here's some homework for you. Write these things down. You need to do a lot of research about your subject and your title to see what else is already out there and also what else is selling well. And I have a couple of tools that you can download to go do some research on Amazon and figure these things out. So that would be an action item that you'll go do that. And then the next time we meet, you'll tell me what you learned. So that's basically what coaching looks like, is just you telling me what you're working on and me plugging you into resources that are going to help make that work more efficient, and also giving you ideas that you may not have thought about before of ways to handle a particular problem. And what I love about coaching is that whether we're working on personal finance or authoring or starting a business or personal relationships, the core issues that we always come back to are exactly the same. The issues are always, do I value myself enough? Do I have good enough boundaries? And do I have the skills to do what it is that I want to do? And so it doesn't really matter what we're working on in coaching externally, because what we're always working on is internally helping you to be the best version of yourself so that you can be successful no matter what you do.
Sounds good. It made me think really quick. Do people ever like change course in the middle of coaching? Like all of a sudden they say, oh, and by the way, I haven't filed my income taxes for 10 years in a row. Can you help me with that?
Yeah, absolutely. That actually happens a lot where they'll come to me with something that they want to work on. And in the course of talking to them, I find out, I'm like, well, before we address this other thing, we should probably talk about this thing.
Because it could be a roadblock.
Exactly. Or like you said, hey, I'm so stressed out because I forgot to do my taxes this year and I haven't filed an extension. I'm like, well, I can help you with that. So it's almost always we get to the end of however long they've planned initially to be with me. There's almost always something more we can do. And when you find somebody that you work compatibly with, it's, that's a rare thing. And so once you find someone that can help you, you might as well have them help you with whatever else it is that you're working on. And one of my very, very favorite things to do with people is to help them declutter their house. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I love to do it. I did 2 episodes on my podcast where I talk about reading Marie Kondo's book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. And the episodes that I did, the reason I did episodes on them is because I realized that my clutter was not about clutter. It was about scarcity mentality. It was about the relationships that I had with my family members. It was about the mindset that I had where I felt like I had to hold on to things just in case, because we all sort of, who grew up in Mormonism, have this idea about like being prepared and having enough of things if in case things go sideways. So what I came to find is that decluttering is not about the actual items in your house. It's about your mindset and your mentality. So you can hire somebody to come and organize your pantry for you, for example, and they'll charge a flat rate to do that, and they'll organize it. And guess what? 2 or 3 or 6 months later, your pantry is going to be back in the same exact state it was in before, because you didn't address the underlying issues that caused you to have a messy pantry in the first place. So a lot of people think, oh, I can't do that virtually. Like, you would have to be there in the house with me. But no, I can actually teach you the tools and the methods that you need to go and do it on your own. And what I do is when people want to declutter, I'll say, okay, let's pick one space. And I always have suggestions about which should be the first space. And then I will give them a list of action items that they need to do and do them in this order. And then if some of my clients want to like film the process or take pictures of their progress and share those with me, others just want to do it and then talk about it afterwards. And I actually do hands-on, in-person, on-site decluttering for people, with people. I don't declutter for you, I declutter with you. And it is helpful, I think, to have somebody right there with you to sort of facilitate the process, because it's really fun to like take all the things out of your cabinet and have them where you can see them in front of you. It's fun to throw away the stuff that you don't need. It's a little harder to get rid of things that are more sentimental and to make decisions about what to keep and where to put it when you keep it. And then you end up with bags of stuff to throw away. It's really helpful to have someone else just cart that away for you so you don't have to deal with it, or take clothes to the donation center or whatever it is. So when I do on-site stuff, it goes a lot faster. Like, I can do an entire house in 3 days.
So yeah, so some people have skeletons in their closet, and other people have their skeletons manifest themselves as piles of mess throughout the house.
Yes. And those of us with ADHD have little piles of clutter everywhere, because that's how we kind of deal with it. It's one of the symptoms.
That's right. And so I have some experience with that. So anyway, thanks, Megan, for coming on our show.
Yeah, of course.
I hope everybody can, think about whether they need Megan's services or not, or other people, right? So you might even pass somebody on to another coach instead of just some other advanced, degreed, skilled professional or something like that, because you might have a you have a network of people that that have certain skills in these areas.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we did a good job covering all that. And everybody, go to Megan's channel, go check her coaching services out, and see if you can think of something that you might be interested in having Megan help. There's a free 15-minute consultation, and we've just given you an example, but you might have, special project that you're interested in exploring. And so Megan can help with that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a nice rest of the summer.